происходит попытка подмены понятий, потому что речь не идет о разрешении или запрете киевскому режиму наносить удары по российской территории. Он и так наносит с помощью беспилотных летательных аппаратов и другими средствами, но когда речь идет об использовании высокоточного оружия большой дальности западного производства, это совершенно другая история. Дело в том, что я уже об этом говорил, и любые эксперты это подтвердят, и у нас, и на Западе, наносить удары современными высокоточными системами большой дальности западного производства украинская армия не в состоянии. Она не может этого делать. Это возможно только с использованием разведданных со спутников, которыми Украина не располагает. Это данные только со спутников или Евросоюза, либо Соединенных Штатов, в общем, с натовских спутников. Это первое. Второе, и очень важное, может быть, ключевое, заключается в том, что полетные задания в эти ракетные системы могут, по сути, вносить только военнослужащие стран НАТО. Украинские военнослужащие делать это не могут. И поэтому речь идет не о том, чтобы разрешать украинскому режиму наносить удары по России этим оружием или не разрешать. Речь идет о том, чтобы принять решение о том, что страны НАТО напрямую участвуют в военном конфликте или нет. Если это решение будет принято, это будет означать не что иное, как прямое участие стран НАТО, Соединенных Штатов, европейских стран в войне на Украине. Это их прямое участие. И это уже, конечно, существенным образом меняет саму суть, саму природу конфликта. Это будет означать, что страны НАТО, США, европейские страны воюют с Россией. А если это так, то, имея в виду изменение самой сути этого конфликта, мы будем принимать соответствующие решения, исходя из тех угроз, которые нам будут создаваться.
This is my video update on this Friday afternoon, September the 13th. Let's talk about some news. And I think there's going to be some lines across my face because the sun is coming right down here, and they have the wood up there, which will probably give me a weird look in this video. Anyway, let's talk about the news. And we got Putin's warning yesterday. He spoke to the media as he was leaving a meeting. I believe he was in St. Petersburg, attending the BRICS security forum or security meeting that is taking place there in preparation for the BRICS meeting in Kazan on October 23rd or 24th. I'm telling you, they are going to the collective West, US, NATO, Ukraine, they are going to try and disrupt the BRICS meeting in Kazan. No doubt about it. No doubt about it, man. They are going to try to hit Russia really hard during the BRICS event, and they're going to try and embarrass and humiliate Russia and BRICS. There's no doubt in my mind that they're planning something big to go down during the October BRICS summit in Kazan, Russia. Anyway, let's get to what Putin said to this reporter. He issued what many people are considering to be the final warning, the strongest warning to the United States, to NATO, regarding long-range missile strikes into pre-2014 Russia. And Putin drew a distinction between the strikes that have been taking place inside of Russia using drones, Ukrainian drones, and the long-range missile strikes that are about to be approved or possibly be approved by the Biden White House any day now. And basically, what Putin said is that, look, the drones that Ukraine is using to hit Russia, that's Ukraine. That's the Ukraine military. That's Ukraine, mostly Ukraine targeting. That is hitting locations inside of pre-2014 Russia. What the collective West is planning to do is they are planning to approve long-range missile strikes, which would effectively mean, according to Putin, that the collective West is now a party to this conflict. NATO is now part of the war. And the reason is that the surveillance, the targeting, all the tech that is behind the long-range missile strikes that goes into long-range missile strikes, ATACMS, Storm Shadows, and stuff like that is going to have to happen on the side of NATO and the collective West. Simplicius the Thinker, he wrote an article about this. I believe he published it today on his Substack, and he used the example of German Taurus missiles and why Germany has not approved the Taurus missiles to Ukraine, because Olaf Scholz has admitted that Taurus missiles being used to hit the Russian military or to hit Russian territory would mean that Germany is a party to the conflict. It would need German assistance. It would mean German soldiers actually on the ground in Ukraine firing the missiles, providing the targeting, providing all the satellite information. And even Olaf Scholz said this would be too much. This would mean Germany is in this conflict, because there's no way you would be able to hide it that Germany is launching these missiles against the Russian military. And that's the same thing goes for the Storm Shadows. Pretty much the same thing goes for ATACMS. Putin's warning is, look, you approve long-range missile strikes into Russian territory, that's NATO launching missiles into Russia. That is NATO attacking Russia with long-range missiles. There's no way you can hide this or conceal this. It's a NATO attack on Russia. That is what Putin said. And well, Putin issued his strongest warning to date. If we are attacked by NATO, he pretty much said, we will retaliate as Russia. We will retaliate against NATO. And that can take, the Russian retaliation can take many forms. The most obvious retaliation that many analysts are talking about is Russia providing missiles to the Houthis to hit U.S. ships, U.S. warships in the area. That's the most obvious and probably the fastest retaliation that Russia could take. But Russia could do a lot of things. I mean, there's so many proxies right now around the world that are engaged in some sort of conflict or skirmish with American forces across the world. I mean, the U.S. has military bases all around the world, and there's all kinds of conflicts taking place. And just imagine the Russian military providing missiles and assistance to all of these proxies across the world. We're not only talking about the Houthis, we're talking about Iran, we're talking about Iranian proxies throughout the Middle East. We could be talking about conflicts that are taking place in Africa. This isn't only about the US. This could be about UK and UK military presence across the world. This could be France and Africa, whatever presence France has in Africa. I mean, the possibilities for Russia's retaliation against the collective West, it's endless. And this is what Putin got across in his message. I hope he got this across in his message, that Russia's retaliation can take many forms, and Russia has a lot of options to retaliate. So I would take Putin very seriously on this warning. And of course, Russia can retaliate directly towards Ukraine and towards Kiev. Sikorsky yesterday in his prank call with fake Poroshenko, as he was getting pranked by Poroshenko, Vovan and Alexis, Sikorsky said that the number one concern for Ukraine is, for the collective West with regards to Ukraine, is the energy infrastructure situation. The head of Ukraine's energy company said the other day that Ukraine's energy situation is on the brink of collapse. One or two more big Russian strikes towards Ukraine's energy infrastructure would mean the end of Ukraine's electricity for the winter, and this could actually lead to a huge migrant crisis into the European Union. Where are Ukrainians going to go if Russia decides to strike the energy infrastructure because of the long-range missile strikes into Russia? And say one of Russia's retaliations is to go after the energy infrastructure in Ukraine, and they launch one big strike into Ukraine's energy infrastructure, completely destroy it for good. What happens in the winter, the cold winter in Ukraine? Where do the people go? They're going to flood into Europe. They're going to flood into Poland, into Romania, into Hungary, into Slovakia, and onwards. That's just one retaliation that Russia can take, which would completely cripple Ukraine, but also cripple the European Union. And that is a big concern of the European Union. Sikorsky, thank you USA, Sikorsky admitted as much to the fake Poroshenko Vovan Lexus prank call the other day. So that was Putin's, I believe it's going to be Putin's final warning to the collective West. If the collective West, if the Biden White House approves these missile strikes, man, the US and the EU and the UK, they are in a world of trouble. I really think they're going to be in a big, hot mess. But Politico, check out this article, this title from Politico. Putin threatens war as Western allies near deal on missile strikes in Russia. White House summit on Friday could grant Ukraine new powers to strike Russia's military bases. The title from Politico. Putin threatens war as Western allies near deal on missile strikes in Russia. How dare Putin threaten war as the Biden White House prepares to attack Russia? It's crazy, man. NATO is preparing an attack into Russian territory. They're preparing to attack Russia, NATO and the Biden White House. A Biden who had to drop out of the election campaign because his brain was mashed potatoes, but now he's going to decide if the U.S. is going to attack Russia. This is what he's considering, a U.S. attack into Russia. And Politico is saying that Putin is threatening war. How dare you threaten war, Putin? Just because we're going to launch ATACMS and JASSM missiles into Russian territory, how dare you threaten us with war? It's just a long-range missile attack into Russia. Why are you threatening war on us like that, Putin? According to Politico. Crazy stuff, man. So what is going to happen this Friday? Today is Friday. The Biden White House is going to decide. Maybe they're going to decide. Keir Starmer and the Foreign Secretary David Lammy, they touched down in the United States, I believe, this morning. And the reports are that, at least from The Guardian was reporting that Starmer had already given the approval. Lammy and Starmer, they have already given the approval to Elensky to use UK Storm Shadow missiles to hit Russia. That's what The Guardian was reporting yesterday. I read a Twitter post this morning. I haven't been able to confirm it, but I'll throw it out there. I read a post which said that ITV in the UK was reporting that Starmer has not given the approval for long-range missile strikes into Russia. I cannot confirm this. The Guardian article, it's there. I talked about it yesterday in a video. I put up a screenshot of it. The Guardian reporting saying that Starmer has approved long-range missile strikes into Russia. That's been confirmed. But this ITV report, I wasn't able to find it anywhere. But someone posted on Twitter. How reliable? I don't know. But they're saying that Starmer is now backing off. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. The reports that we have are that Starmer is going to meet with Biden, and together, the US and the UK, they are going to decide on whether they're going to attack Russia. Whether the US and the UK are going to attack Russia. That is what Biden, mishmash, mash potatoes, Biden, that is what Biden is going to decide. And that is what the most boring man in politics, the most boring man in the world, Keir Starmer, is going to decide whether the US and the UK are going to attack Russia. Starmer, he gave a statement to the media as he was traveling to the United States. And Starmer, he said, and I quote, "Russia started this conflict. Russia illegally invaded Ukraine. Russia can end this conflict straight away." That was Starmer's comment to the media as he was being asked about his meeting with Joe Biden and about possibly launching World War III. Maybe not World War III, but attacking Russia and guaranteeing a Russian retaliation, which will, I think, a Russian retaliation, especially against the UK, whatever that retaliation may be, is going to decimate the UK. I don't know. That's my sense of things. It's going to really cripple the UK military, whatever Russia's retaliation is going to be, because you know that Russia, they've got this all game planned out, and you know that Russia knows exactly how they're going to hit the UK to cause significant damage, maximum damage, without risking a World War III nuclear type of escalation or a NATO escalation. You know Russia's game planned this out. You think Starmer has game planned this out? The most boring man in politics, Keir Starmer, the most boring man in the world. Russia started this conflict. Russia illegally invaded Ukraine. Russia can end this conflict straight away. I'm Keir Starmer, and I'm freaking boring. Oh boy! So the debate right now in the United States is taking place between the State Department and the Pentagon. Alexander has been saying this. The Duran has been saying this. I talked about this yesterday in my video, and this has effectively been confirmed. Yesterday, the Pentagon, they said that no type of weapon will become a game changer, allowing the Kiev government to emerge victorious in the current conflict. That is what the Pentagon press secretary, Patrick Ryder, told reporters during a briefing. He said, no weapon, no wonder weapon, no long-range ATACMS missile strike. That's what he's basically implying. No ATACMS long-range JASSM missile strike is going to change the outcome of the war, is going to give Ukraine a victory, which is the Pentagon's way of, once again, saying this is a bad idea. Even the Pentagon is saying this is a bad idea. Austin said this was a bad idea in Germany. Patrick Ryder, the press secretary for the Pentagon, is saying this is a bad idea. This is not going to win the conflict. This is not going to make a difference in the conflict. All it's going to do is provoke a reaction, a retaliation from Russia, which is going to put the US in a world of hurt. And it's going to put the UK in a world of hurt. So that the Pentagon is clear. This is a bad idea. The State Department, well, they want the escalation. The State Department is pushing for escalation. And the Wall Street Journal is reporting that the Biden White House, they are trying to figure out a way to improve Ukraine's strategic position in the war before his term ends. This is the State Department. This is Blinken. This is Nuland's influence. This is Hillary Clinton's influence. I would lump in Jake Sullivan as well into this grouping. They're trying to figure out a way to keep Ukraine going, to keep Ukraine fighting, to keep this conflict going, to prevent the collapse before the election. And the Wall Street Journal is reporting as much. The Wall Street Journal is saying that the goal of the Biden White House, what they're trying to figure out, they've got the Pentagon's stance on all of this. But what Sullivan and Blinken and the Nuland crowd and the Hillary Clinton crowd that controls the State Department, what they're trying to figure out is how do we improve? How do we keep Ukraine going? How do we prevent collapse? And how do we position this, market this as improving Ukraine's position in the conflict as Biden phases out and either Trump comes in or, God help us, Kamala comes into the White House. The US president's top aides have no illusions that Ukraine will be able to win the war before the end of Biden's term, but they are not pushing Kiev to hold peace talks with Russia or trying to dictate battlefield plans. US officials told the Wall Street Journal, quote, "The goal is to improve Ukraine's strategic position to the greatest extent possible between now and the end of the term," a senior administration official said. That's the debate that is taking place between the State Department, the Biden White House, and the Pentagon. The military men who still understand, the military men, the men in uniform in the Pentagon who still understand the risk, the danger that the Biden White House is going to put the United States and US soldiers in if they approve the long-range missile strikes into Russian territory. There are still people in the Pentagon who understand the dangers of this policy. Blinken, he's clueless, man. He just wants escalation, more escalation, and no collapse as I'm Secretary of State. I don't want to see a collapse while I'm still Secretary of State. The same goes for Sullivan. So Elensky is going to be in the United States in a day, I believe, either tomorrow or Sunday, maybe even today. Elensky's going to be in the United States, from what I understand. And Elensky, he is going to present his victory plan to Biden, if you believe that this is going to actually be the situation. Elensky meeting with mashed potatoes Biden, right? With Professor Biden. Yeah, right. Elensky, the clown comedian, is going to present his victory plan to Biden, and they're going to discuss Elensky's victory plan. This is what they want us to believe. So Elensky, he is going to be in the United States. These are the reports. And he does have a victory plan. That's what they're telling us. But I don't think that's what's going on here. Elensky's being called to the United States because they're going to tell Elensky, the scriptwriters are going to tell Elensky what he's going to say and do going forward. They're going to take a decision, right? The US, the UK, the State Department. We'll see how much influence the Pentagon has. Sullivan, Blinken. Sullivan runs foreign policy. He's the foreign policy president of the United States. I believe that whatever he says at the end of the day is what the policy is going to be. Right now, I lump Sullivan in with the State Department and with the Blinken crowd, but who knows? Maybe the Pentagon influences him. I don't know. But my sense of things is that he's the one that's calling the shots. Anyway, you're going to have the UK and the US. You're going to have Ukraine and Zelensky in the US, and they're going to dictate to the UK and to the Ukraine what the policy is going to be going forward for the next 2-3 months. That's what's taking place right now in the US. Are we going to hit Russia with long-range missiles? Is that the plan, or are we not? Are we going to do something else instead? That's what's going on. Elensky isn't going to present any victory plan. From what I understand, the Elensky victory plan involves removing Putin, trying to engineer regime change, and trying to engineer a way to get NATO into the conflict. That's the Elensky peace plan. That's it. How do we create enough chaos? Let's create enough chaos so we can get some sort of regime change in Russia, and let's figure out a way to get NATO involved in this conflict, even though all the indications are that NATO cannot and will not enter the conflict. They're not capable of entering the conflict. They're not prepared to enter into a conflict with Russia. If NATO were to enter the conflict, NATO would be demolished by the Russian military, and they know it. They know it. If NATO thought they could defeat Russia, if they believed that they could defeat Russia, they would have entered this conflict from day one. But they know they can't. There was a time when NATO was considering it. Even 6 months ago, Macron was floating out the possibility of NATO troops, French and UK troops, stationed in Crimea, and that got shot down. Sikorsky floated out the idea, as he was being prank called by Boban and Lexus. he at one point during the prank call, Sikorsky, I believe he said that Poland is not ready to enter the conflict. But then he also said that if things really get bad, things really deteriorate for the Ukraine military, that there is a chance that maybe Poland and NATO enters the conflict. Maybe he did hint at that. But Sikorsky, he also put out the tweet saying that that the U.S. blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. So once again, Sikorsky is not the sharpest knife in the drawer. So anyway, that's the Zelensky peace plan, the victory plan. That's Zelensky's victory plan. Then he has his peace summit, his second peace summit. that's how all of this is going to go, according to Elensky. Provoke Russia. Try to get regime change in Moscow and try to create the conditions or the provocation towards Russia that will eventually lead to NATO entering the conflict. And then you have his second peace summit. Elensky, when he was in Kiev the other day, meeting with Blinken and Lamy and taking part in the Crimea summit, he spoke to the media and he was asked about what's going on in Kursk. And he said that the Russian counterattack, here's his quote: "The Russians have started a counterattack action in Kursk." He's talking about Kursk. "Everything goes in accordance with our Ukrainian plan." That's Zelensky. What an idiot, man. Jeez, man. It's like Baghdad Bob territory. The Naked Gun. Everything's okay. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Move on. Right? Remember that scene from The Naked Gun? That's Zelensky. The Russian counterattack in Kursk. Zelensky actually said, this comedian, this clown, actually told the media that the Russian counterattack in Kursk and the fact that Russia, in 48 hours, according to the Russian Ministry of Defense, in 48 hours, they've managed to capture 10 or 12 villages that Ukraine was holding, and they managed to cut off the roads for Ukraine retreat out of Russia. So now the Ukraine military is stuck in Russia. They're like they are stuck in Russia, and they're just being demolished, hunted down, their equipment destroyed. Things are completely collapsing for Ukraine in Kursk, and their best military is stuck in Kursk now. And Elensky told the media this counterattack from Russia is part of our plan. Everything is going as we planned, as our vehicles, our soldiers, our equipment. It's all getting destroyed. This is part of the plan, is what Elensky told the media. Oh my God, this guy. This is the guy. This is the guy that the collective West, that the U.S. has decided to de-dollarize for. This is the guy. This is the guy that the European Union has decided to deindustrialize and demilitarize for. This is the guy, Elensky, that the collective West has decided to destroy themselves for this guy. This is part of my victory plan. My victory plan is all about Russia destroying my military in Kursk. Right, Podolyak? Is this part of my victory plan, Podolyak? I don't know. It doesn't sound like a good victory plan. Hey, Podolyak, what do you think? No, Mr. President, this is a horrible development, what's happening in Kursk. It doesn't sound too good. Boy. This is the guy that the collective West decided to put in as the man that's going to take down Russia. This is the guy. The Pentagon, they said that in their statement yesterday that the Russian counterattack in Kursk is marginal for now. Delusion from the Pentagon. It's marginal. Just marginal. They are right that it is, as Alexander always points out, what's happening in Kursk is getting a lot of coverage, but it's just the sideshow of what is really happening in Donbass. I mean, Donbass is where the real conflict is taking place. And that is where Ukraine is absolutely collapsing. But the Pentagon called it marginal. That is what they said. Yeah, so that's Zelensky. It's all part of the victory plan. Getting annihilated in Kursk is part of the victory plan. And then Elensky, as he was talking to the media, he didn't stop there. He didn't stop embarrassing himself there. He decided to insult China and Brazil. Yep, he said it's time to piss off the Chinese and the Brazilians, because why not? I'm surprised he didn't decide to insult India. Might as well just insult all of the BRICS countries that have been holding back Putin for you. This is what they've been doing. They have been keeping Putin in check. China, Brazil, India. They've been telling Putin, please don't go too hard on Ukraine just yet. Please go slow. Please don't launch the full strength of the Russian military on Ukraine. Let's try to figure this out diplomatically. And Putin has been saying, okay, I value you guys as partners. I value BRICS, and we're going to have the BRICS summit in Russia. I don't want to rock the boat. I'll take your advice into consideration, and we'll go slow, and we'll present peace formulas and peace plans that make sense and take the realities on the ground into consideration, because I value the friendship of China, India, and Brazil. So these are the guys that have been preserving Elensky and Ukraine. And what does Elensky do to thank China and Brazil? He poops all over them. He insults them. Not the first time that he's insulted China, not the first time that he's insulted Brazil, not the first time that he's insulted India, though he didn't lump India into this statement. But what Elensky did say the other day is that Brazil and China are colluding with Russia. That is what he said. Speaking to the news outlet Metropol's on Wednesday, Elensky called the Chinese-Brazilian proposals, their peace proposals, destructive, dismissing it as a political statement. He claimed that he has since spoken with President Lula and also approached Beijing to discuss resolving the conflict. Quote, "Why did you suddenly decide that you should take Russia's side or be somewhere in the middle? How can you offer, here is our initiative, without asking us anything?" Elensky asked, suggesting that at the same time, Beijing and Brasilia had discussed the initiative with Russia. "We are not fools," Elensky insisted. So basically, Elensky is complaining that China's peace formula and Brazil's diplomacy did not take Ukraine's ideas and thoughts and proposals into their peace formulas, into their peace plans. They didn't consider Ukraine when they were formulating their peace initiatives. China's peace plan and Brazil's diplomacy is what Elensky is referring to, which is an interesting statement from Elensky, basically saying that China did not consider us when they were formulating their peace plan. This is coming from the guy who allegedly put together a peace summit in Switzerland and didn't even invite Russia. And he's saying to China, how come you didn't consult with us when you put together your peace formula? Which is nonsense, because China consistently spoke with Ukraine and consistently approached Ukraine as they were developing their peace formula. They actually had a special envoy travel to Ukraine, to Kiev, to get their input when they were developing their peace formula. But what was Ukraine's response to China? We don't want to hear it. We have our own 10-point peace plan, which was Russia's capitulation. That was their peace plan. That's a peace plan that they continue to insist on. But Elensky is accusing China and Brazil of not taking Ukraine into consideration when talking about peace. And Elensky's the guy that put together a peace summit, allegedly put together a peace summit, and didn't even invite Russia. Insisted on Russia not being there. "We are not fools," said Elensky. Podolyak, we are not fools, right? We're kind of fools, Mr. President. Kind of fools. What are you talking about, Podolyak? I'm not a fool. Oh boy. So J.D. Vance, he was giving an interview. Let's take a little bit of a walk. J.D. Vance was giving an interview to a podcast. I don't know the podcast. I forgot the podcast. But he was asked about Project Ukraine. And J.D. Vance actually talked about Trump's peace plan, peace formula. This is, I think, the first clear indication from the Trump camp as to what they're thinking about when it comes to ending the conflict in Ukraine. And basically, the plan goes like this, according to J.D. Vance. There will be a demilitarized zone on the line of contact where the fighting is taking place. There will be a big demilitarized area. And Ukraine will say no NATO. They will pledge neutrality. And there will be a reconstruction in what is left of Ukraine, what is outside this demilitarized area. And the reconstruction of Ukraine will be paid for by the European Union, by Germany. That's the plan, according to Vance. So we don't have all the details, but that's the summary of what the Trump campaign is thinking about. What do you guys think? We've already been here. I mean, Minsk 1, Minsk 2, the plan that was put on the table in March 2022, which Boris Johnson sabotaged. It's really no different than any of that, is it? And why would Russia agree to such a plan when Russia is winning and is going to win? And everyone acknowledges that Russia's winning and is going to win. Even J.D. Vance realizes that Russia is going to win. J.D. Vance knows Russia's going to win. He knows it. He's not hiding the fact that he knows it either. So why would they agree to a demilitarized zone, right? And then agree to a reconstructed Ukraine that would be under the influence, under the control of the collective West, is basically what's happening. And why should you believe Ukraine is going to remain neutral? Why would you believe such a pledge from Ukraine that they're going to remain neutral? How do you guarantee that? This is odd. Anyway, that's the plan. Okay, I get it. So you sit down here and you look through the windows, right? Very cool. It's a huge cruise ship down there. So the neutrality in NATO is a good start. I'm not going to crap on this plan. You have to start somewhere, right? So saying that Ukraine is going to be neutral, at least it's a start. It's something that the Biden White House and NATO have refused to say, and Ukraine have refused to promise to, is no entry into NATO. So you start there. That's the baseline. That's good. That's good. The demilitarized zone, I don't think Russia's going to go for that. Demilitarization is what Russia's going to want. They're going to say, okay, NATO, neutrality, fine, but we need to see Ukraine demilitarized, period. No NATO, demilitarization, and then you have the denazification component. So a lot of people are commenting on this plan. A lot of the analysis is talking about it, and the analysis is saying this is no different than the other plans that we've had, that Russia agreed to and Russia actually put on the table, like Minsk 1 and Minsk 2. And Ukraine did not honor those plans approved by the UN Security Council. Germany, France, They did not honor Minsk I and Minsk II. Ukraine did not honor Minsk I and Minsk II, which were great deals for Ukraine, great agreements for Ukraine. Why would they honor any plan coming from the collective West? But, it is a start. I agree with the analysis that says we've already been here with these plans, and it's not much different than other plans that have been floated out there. But it is a start. And I think NATO neutrality, it's something. But how do you get that to stick forever? Because Russia's going to want it forever. They're not going to want NATO neutrality just for a couple of years, and then you reconstruct Ukraine into you reconstruct another military in Ukraine, which could very well happen, and you get another conflict all over again. So anyway, that's my thoughts on what J.D. Vance said, and I think we can do some clown worlds. Yeah, let's do some clown worlds. Kind of clown worlds. I don't really have good clown worlds today, but we had a Polish MP. I don't know this guy. I don't know this Polish MP, but he's pretty based. At least that's what it looks like. He spoke to the media yesterday in Warsaw, and from what I understand, Blinken was in Poland, and he basically told the media, Blinken, go home. We don't want you in Poland. We don't want war. We don't want Poland in Ukraine. We don't want Polish soldiers, Polish military fighting Russia in Ukraine. Blinken, go home. Let me get you his statement here, because I've got it bookmarked. Let me get you his name. Grzegorz Braun, Polish MP. He said, Blinken, go home as soon as possible. Get lost. We don't want you here. We don't want Polish people paying and dying for your wars. That's a pretty cool statement. I don't know this MP. I don't know his positions. I don't know where he is on the right, on the left, in the middle, what party he's associated with. I have no idea. But what he said is pretty spot on. If only we had more MPs saying this, then maybe we wouldn't be in the mess we're in today. Anyway, that's one clown world. The other clown world is Harris. The Harris campaign, according to Politico, they are running ads in key battleground states talking up Harris's support for Project Ukraine and talking up how Trump wants to end the conflict, right? They see this as a good thing, the fact that Harris wants to push the United States towards World War III. This is a plus, according to the Harris campaign. So they're actually running ads talking about how Harris has stood with Ukraine. She supports Ukraine to continue fighting Russia. She supports escalation. And it's Trump. Trump is the bad guy because he is talking about putting together some sort of a peace plan or some sort of end to the conflict. So he's the bad guy. Don't vote for the guy that wants to end the wars. Whether you believe Trump is sincere or not, whether you believe he's going to end the war or not, the point is, don't vote for the guy that is at least talking about trying to end the conflict. Don't vote for that guy. Vote for the girl that wants to escalate us into World War III. That's the person that you want to vote for. The person that wants to escalate with the largest nuclear power on the planet. Yeah, that's who you should vote for. Anyway, that's the video, everybody. theduran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and Twitter X. And go to the Duran shop. Pick up some merch like the t-shirt I'm wearing today. You will find the link in the description box down below. Take care.